Welcome back to It's in the Blood. I'm Alex. That's Papa Blood. And we are officially trying something new, and this is the first installment of the Blood, Sweat, and Sports podcast. And we will get more details as we go along and figure out how we're going to do this, but it will be on Tuesdays and Tuesday only. So that's when you can expect this. And so to jump into our first topic, for Blood, Sweat, and Sports, Papa Blood, would you like to share what we're going to be talking about today?
Absolutely. First of all, glad to be back. I think it's been too long since you and I have done anything together on a stream, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Can I just pause real quick? Your mic sounds great.
Does it?
Yeah. It sounds great.
Nice. Well, to talk about the topic just a little bit before we get into it, I felt it would be super interesting because I really didn't think the quarterback class this year in the NFL draft was all that spectacular. I thought there was a lot of good players in there, but I thought it'd be really cool to just kind of sit back and rank each of these teams that drafted a new quarterback and kind of pick out how their season might go and kind of rank them in an order just to see who might do the best and see how we differ.
Yeah, for sure. But before we get into it, just a couple things. One, everybody hydrate before you dehydrate. Drink some water. 2, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. And if you're listening from a podcast, you can find us on It's in the Blood on YouTube. And 3rd, I missed you guys. I missed you guys a lot.
Yeah.
That's all I got. That's all I got for you. I thought I had something else, but it's been a while. I got to get back in the saddle. So yeah, basically to summarize what he said, because he gave a little bit of background, we are going to take the 6 teams that drafted a quarterback in the first round of this past draft, and we are going to rank how we think their season is going to go. Basically, if there were only 6 teams in the NFL, we're going to rank them 1 through 6, how we think they will be finished by the end of the year. Because it's kind of a confusing saying it the way we said it. It seems like we're ranking the quarterbacks or we're ranking this. We're talking about how we think these 6 teams are going to look compared to each other by the end of the season. And since this was Papa Blood's brilliant idea, I am going to let him give his 6 first. What we're going to do is we're going to say 1 through 6, or 6 through 1, worst to best, best to worst, however he decides to do it. And then we're going to talk about each of these 6 teams, these 6 quarterbacks, and, all of that. And at the end, after we get through the bulk of everything, we'll take any questions, comments, and concerns, and we'll talk about it. So, you have the floor.
Yeah, so I sat down with this the other day, and I really put some thought into the process, and as much as I like some of these teams without their rookie starting, I still think absolutely the team that's going to be at the top of the heap out of the 6 is probably going to be the Atlanta Falcons. I start there because I think having an established quarterback with a rookie to learn behind is probably a better scenario. Moving through, second on that list, I really like the Minnesota Vikings. I'm a big fan of the coaching staff. I'm a big fan of the culture up there. And I think they're going to be a little bit better than expected. Third on that list, and I can't believe I'm going there, is Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. Not because of Caleb Williams' play, but because I really like the defense on the Bears.
The Bears.
The Bears. Once you get past those 3, it gets kind of sketchy on what we're going to see. I really think that next on that list is going to be Denver. I don't know particularly why. I just don't think I see Sean Payton going 3-14 this season. I will throw them up there, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. I think Bo Nix will probably end up starting there, but I'm not sure that they're going to go as bad as some of these others. Uh, Last two in that list, I'm going to go with New England being fifth. I feel like we're not going to see Drake May. And although they have a very stout defense, it's a big culture change getting away from Bill Belichick. I think they're going to need a year to get acclimated. And last but not least is going to be the Washington Comanches. I love Dan Quinn. I love the draft choices. I just don't feel like they're put together yet. I feel like they're going to struggle this year, but I look out next season.
I really thought you were going to start from worst to first, and so that really threw me off. I also, you and I have not discussed this at all with each other. We've talked plenty of football, but this specific topic we've not discussed. So this is all kind of new information I'm hearing from you, and probably the same you hearing from me. But I was kind of surprised. I was like really like buying into your list as you were going down, and then you kept going, and then I was just you started losing me towards the end. Since you started first to worst, I'm gonna start worst to first. You ended with Washington. I don't feel the same way you do. And so like obviously we didn't give any records. You said you threw a number out there, but for all we know, all of these teams could end 3-14, but we're still ranking them on how we think they're gonna do, whatever. But so for my worst, I I haven't said this on the channel yet, but I am embracing the villain slash hater. This is gonna sound like it's all out of bias, but it's really not. But I genuinely feel this way. My bottom, I'm gonna put Denver, and not because I hate them. Because I think Bo Nix should not be a day one starter, and he will be. And they kind of gutted a lot of their offense. Their defense, I think, still will be very like semi-respectable. I don't think it's going to get worse. But I'm putting Denver at the bottom. I feel comfortable with saying that. And this one's going to surprise you probably, but my second worst, I'm going to put Chicago. I think they have probably the best roster on this list, but none of them like have ever played together. And so, other than the defense, and the defense can only carry you so far if your offense commits a lot of turnovers and dumb stuff. I think it's going to be a very shaky year. I'm not disrespecting this roster. It's a pretty solid roster. I am slightly throwing shade at Caleb Williams, but I'm going to give him a chance. But I'm going to put him at Chicago at 5. They're just not ready. Like, that's all it is to it. There's a lot of great pieces there that have never played together. We don't know how they'll look, and we also don't know how Caleb's going to play at the highest level. So there's just a lot of trust issues with that entire franchise right now. Number 3 on my list. Let's see. I got Denver, and I have these names out of order. I should have put them in my order. Or not number 3. Number 4, I'm gonna put Minnesota. I think they have the ceiling to be in the number 2 area for me. Just kind of how you were feeling about them. I think JJ is gonna fit in. He's like another Kirk Cousins. He's like a Tom Brady. He's like just a do what he's told guy. Might not be the most talented quarterback, but I think he's gonna be able to win games for them. But I think it'll be a slow start. They've got 2 great wide receivers. You have to depend on the O-line to hold up, which took until the end of the year last year to see that. And so we don't know how that's going to look. And defensively, we're not sure. They've got Aaron Jones from the Packers. We'll see if he meshes. There's that. But there's still a little bit of like question mark around them before I can put them higher. My number 3, I'm going to put New England. I know that you say there's big shoes to fill, and that is very true. But nobody's expecting this new coach to be a Hall of Fame coach in a season. And also, nobody's expecting anything out of them after the last couple years, what we've watched. So they're kind of like the Lions a year or two ago, kind of free spirited playing. Whether we see Brissett or we see May or we see both of them, which I think is something we might be seeing throughout the year. I think that defense with Christian Gonzalez and Matthew Judon being healthy, there's just a lot going right. You know, they could hold teams to under 10 points, whether they won the game or not. All they need is to produce some offense. And so I put them at number 3 because I feel like they're going to be sneaky. No one's paying attention to them, really. My number 2 is going to be. Wait, that was my number 2. And so my number 1 would be Atlanta. As long as Kirk Cousins healthy, they're easily the best team ready to play.
Did you not talk about Washington?
Oh. Okay, Washington was meant to go before New England. New England was going to be my 2. But yeah, making this list all backwards has got me screwed up. But Washington's going to be my number 3. Don't forget what I said about New England. They're number 2. But Washington's number 3. I think Jaden Daniels super athletic. But one thing you did not mention when you spoke about this team specifically is Eric Bieniemy. And I think him being in there. Is he not there?
He's the OC at UCLA.
I forgot. Okay, well.
The offensive coordinator that was at the Chargers came over.
That's right. I just had a dumb moment. But
it's okay.
It's okay. It's been a while. So I'll take that L. But I still feel good about this team because they're kind of like a makeshift team that was starting to look okay. You know, like some of the guys coming back to this team. They've lost some pieces, but Jaden Daniels, it's going to be kind of like watching Anthony Richardson, in my opinion, last year. I think he's going to have some like flair, you know, because we don't know how everything's going to look, but I think he's going to be on the go, running, making plays. His athleticism is what is intriguing about this whole thing. And so yeah. I still feel pretty confident about them because they're going to be another overlooked team similar to New England. I know they've got a first-year quarterback, but I just think it's a good opportunity for them because really no one's going to be paying as much attention as they will be to like Caleb Williams. And then my number 1 is going to be Atlanta, of course. Pretty much everything you said about Atlanta. As long as Kirk is healthy, they're easily the best team out of these 6. They were already almost there. You know, they were figuring it out last year, and they've done nothing for the last 3 years but continue to build this team up. And now they've got a QB, a veteran QB that can go out and win games. And also, they've got a young rookie sitting behind him, waiting in the off chance that, you know, Kirk does get injured again or, you know, they decide to move on from him.
Honestly, though, I mean, that's probably a good place to start talking about Atlanta. I think letting Michael Penix sit back behind a guy like Kirk Cousins and let him learn the NFL game, get a little bit stronger. He's got one of the best deep balls in the game. I think that's going to be the biggest quarterback that has the most benefit from their rookie season will be Michael Penix sitting behind Kirk Cousins. I can't think of a better situation. I know a lot of people were upset that Atlanta didn't go after a playmaker or an offensive lineman, but to go out there and pick the guy that they want to succeed, you know, from Kirk Cousins, I gotta say I kind of like the plan, and I've always liked Atlanta. I've always been I kind of favor them a little bit. Love the secondary. I love the plan for Bijan this year. The plan for Bijan is going to be a lot like what you see Christian McCaffrey doing out in San Francisco. He's pretty pumped up about it, you know, and I think that they have the potential, you know, being that the NFC South is probably the softest division right now, although it's getting a little bit more convoluted. I think everybody got better. I think that they've got the biggest opportunity to win a division out of the 6.
Oh, out of the 6 teams, 100%, I think Atlanta has the best chance to take their division. I can't see Denver doing it. Like, Denver's got a lot of they've got a lot to figure out still. And then you've got Minnesota. There's a lot of competition above them. And Chicago, the same thing. Chicago and Minnesota are in the same place, except for I feel like Minnesota is a little more grounded than Chicago at this moment. We'll see when the season starts. And then New England, that's just a tight division that's been pretty competitive the last couple years. And so, and Washington, the NFC East, well, they probably have a good chance to finish third if they would, if things do go right. And depending on what happens with the top two, I could see either of those teams faltering a little bit this year, regressing, I guess is a better word. And so, but I don't feel like they have a chance to win their division right now. So Atlanta is easily the number one. It's when you get to 2 through 6 on this list where you start. I think you could honestly order them however you wanted, and it would all make sense to me.
Sure. I mean, your list made sense to me, and it was completely backwards, minus a couple guys, a couple teams that what I had put in there. Which team would you like to go to next?
Let's talk about Washington.
Yeah, because the one team that you and I did kind of discuss earlier out of fantasy necessity, talking about the Commanders and their backups at quarterback, and I did forget that Marcus Mariota has also been signed on there, so he's going to be that veteran presence for Jaden Daniels.
That's a good fit quarterback to be a veteran presence, similar play style.
Yeah, and then they took Sam Hartman. I don't know if they drafted him or if he was a UDFA, but the quarterback out of Notre Dame who actually laid a butt whipping on Caleb Williams in college. Just throwing that out there. Also, he's a pretty good quarterback. And then they got one more guy for competition, and it's Jeff Driscoll, the former Bengal.
Oh my God,
he's kind of bounced around a little bit, so they do have some options at quarterback. I really like the new ownership in Washington. I'm really afraid that it's going to take a couple years to really get their plan in motion. But Dan Quinn did a really nice job in Atlanta, and he had that defense in Dallas playing phenomenal. If they have any opportunity to win in the NFC East, it's because of Dan Quinn and his knowledge of the other 3 teams in that division. So if you want to give a team an up, I think that's probably their best perk. They got great receivers. Their defense has gone through some serious changes, and I think that's where they're going to struggle a little bit this year. But all in all, the Commanders have a chance to be good. I think the NFC East has a chance to go down a little bit because right now you can say what you want, but Philadelphia, the Giants don't really necessarily scare you so much because Philadelphia was so dysfunctional last year and their coordinators, they just kind of quit. And I don't like that. I don't like that look. Dallas still looks to be the favorite right at this moment, and nobody knows what you're going to get out of Daniel Jones.
Oh, Danny Dimes. Oh, Danny Dimes. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I feel the same right now that I do with Washington, that I do with New England in a sense, is they've got eyes on them, but really nobody's going to be paying nearly as close attention to them. Because the whole Bo Nix thing kind of put his name up a little bit higher. So there's going to be eyes in Denver. And obviously, Caleb Williams is all anybody's talked about for over a year now. So all eyes are going to be on Chicago. And all eyes are going to be on Kirk Cousins and his health and see what happens with Michael Penix, even though he wasn't the high-rated guy. People are still confused about it, and they're trying to watch and figure that out. So I feel like Drake May and Jaden Daniels obviously were highly rated, but I think they're going to be able to sneak under the radar a little bit unless they do something incredibly embarrassing early on that makes people want to watch, or they completely shine right away, which is definitely possible. I think and we can go from Washington to New England now, because I feel very similarly about the two. But and I think Washington and New England play a similar offense, to be honest. Washington is trying to really incorporate the run. They've got a bunch of pass catchers and pass catching tight ends, but, they're trying to make the run game more of a focal point, and that's what New England's always done. And I think, although it's going to be a culture change, I don't think that game plan is going to go that differently because it has worked. Um, and so I think with Brissett, with Drake May, with Brissett and Drake May, I think there's gonna be a lot of running the football, which is gonna give opportunity to open up the field a bit. That's one thing New England's been good at, defense and running the football. That's the only thing I've ever known them to be the best at, and so I feel like the game plans for Washington's going to be very similar. And so, like, I just look at these two teams as like the same team right now.
Yeah, I did make a mistake. I gave you the wrong OC. It's Cliff Kingsbury. It's the OC for Washington. I got them. I got them a little incorrect. Former air raid.
Okay, well, we took a couple L's today, so
That's okay. I don't know why I thought it was the one that went.
nobody in the chat corrected us, so we got away with it.
Yeah, well, somebody will correct us. But anyway, how do you think? You had some affinity for Washington. How do you think Austin Eckler really fits in? Because he is such a productive back. What do you think?
I think it'll be a good piece for this young quarterback, right? Because not only is he a pretty solid running back, but he's a pretty solid pass catcher, a reliable. He's like having a reliable tight end, but that moves like a running back and is a little smaller, I think Austin Eckler being there is a really big boost to Jaden Daniels' career because it's very clear that he's probably going to be their day one starter. Like, I just don't see them setting him. Like, there's a lot of hype. He's very excited, and he's one of these out of these six, the most like enthusiastic up on the podium talking during, training camp and everything. Like, he is happy to be there, and I didn't think anyone would ever say they were happy to be in Washington. So, um, that wide receiver that went to the Giants, he did not hide the fact that he did not want to be there, So, like, he's showing pure excitement. Jaden Daniels happy to be there. Austin Eckler happy to be getting a fresh start somewhere, start over and find a name for himself away from Justin Herbert. And I think it could be a good duo between quarterback, running back.
Yeah. So
Pending his health.
And going back to last year, Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson, what a good 1-2 punch at wide receiver with Jameson Crowder kind of in that mix as well. Those guys.
They still have Curtis Samuel also, or did
nope,
he go somewhere
he's
else?
in Buffalo.
That's right.
So yeah, they have Duwami Brown, and I'm trying to think.
Oh yeah, I liked him too.
So they have some depth at wide receiver. Dotson was one of my favorites coming out of Penn State a couple years back. I think he's going to he has an opportunity to step up. They got some really good pieces.
They did lose Logan Thomas.
Yeah, he is a San Francisco 49er officially.
As of yesterday. Yesterday.
I think I know I saw him come through signing, and that's a pretty nice fit for him as well.
Yeah.
Which team should we go to next?
It's Minnesota, Denver, or Chicago.
Well, I didn't really get an opportunity to talk Minnesota, Denver, or Chicago. I'm kind of a fan of talking about Minnesota right now. I think I really think that one's going to be the official team. I think everything is going to be relying upon the team. I do think that the one X factor there, and it seems like they had a lot of turnover when the new GM took over a few years back. The X factor is really Brian Flores, in my opinion.
Yeah.
as a DC, I really think he's got the opportunity to really bring his name back up in the head coaching ranks again, because I thought he did a really good job in Miami. I don't know, there was a lot of stuff with all that, but I feel like he is such I feel like he's such a good leader. Miami didn't flourish under him, but they didn't go down the tubes either. I feel like that defense is going to be important. The NFC North is sneaky good. Chicago's got a great roster. So does Green Bay. They're developing. Jordan Love's about ready to get his contract, and then Detroit looks built and ready to rock and roll. Everybody got paid. They're on the tour. Everybody talks about the AFC North being the best division in football this year. You never can tell. This might be the most competitive. If Chicago can put up some numbers, they could be really tough. But I just feel like Minnesota is like the safe bet. The team that slow and steady wins the race, can maybe get to 9 wins this season. You're absolutely correct. I love Aaron Jones in that offense. He's going to take a lot of pressure off the quarterback. I'm trying to think who else is in that backfield that's left there.
I think Madison's gone, or he might still be there.
I think Madison's gone. And then Justin Jefferson getting the Goliath contract. And I listened to the interview with him today. And basically, his whole demeanor has changed. He is ready to assert himself as a leader on the field. He's ready to coach the young guys a little bit. He really is happy. He's got 40 some odd million reasons to be happy. So
Well, they also got Jordan Addison, who had a really great, rookie year.
And TJ Hawkinson in the tight end spot.
I mean, JJ McCarthy had a pretty good landing spot for his play style. This was like the best team that could have got him.
Yeah, absolutely. He doesn't have to be spectacular. He just has to be smart and good. And I think
he's just like in college.
Because you know what? I mean, and I heard a lot of the Michigan kids coming out talking about how Harbaugh ran that program like an NFL team. So he's going to be NFL ready, and he's got all the pieces around him. If they can protect him, Minnesota's got an opportunity. I don't know about winning that division, but for second or third, I mean, they should be right there.
Yeah, I mean, look, we haven't made it to Chicago yet, but this is where we bleed into Chicago. I just can't see Chicago finishing higher than 4th. Like, Minnesota very well could be the team that does that, right? Like, it is entirely possible, but and on this show, it's always strictly our opinion. We're not paid by the NFL to know what's gonna happen. So, it's all an opinion, but in my opinion, I think Chicago got set back 2 or 3 more years after trading Fields away and going after a new quarterback, and they're starting over. So, obviously JJ's a new quarterback, but they don't have like a whole new team. Like, this is they got JJ and they got Aaron Jones, but who's really like new? Like, Chicago, they went and got Keenan Allen. They went and drafted the rookie wide receiver. They got a new quarterback. Like, everything changed in Chicago when it didn't need to. And so they have to prove that they are better than the 4th place team. Like, I just can't put them any higher until they do it. Like, I will give them that respect. Like I said, I'll be respectful when these teams earn it, because these are all baby teams other than Atlanta. These are new teams. And so, Minnesota, they're in a good spot right now, because they didn't draft Caleb Williams, who was the best. They didn't draft Jaden Daniels, the Heisman. They didn't draft the top guys, right? They drafted JJ McCarthy, who we all knew going in was not the most athletic guy in his class. And so his expectations are on the floor. Like, he pretty much has none in terms of the fans, right? Just don't turn the ball over 4 times a game. That's pretty much all you have to do, and people are going to be happy with your rookie year. So free spirited, kind of like I mentioned with Washington, New England, a lot less criticism coming immediately, expectations in a good offense that was functional before, you
Yeah,
know,
not to cut you off, but I think the biggest thing is that Minnesota has zero pressure, where Chicago's put a mass amount of pressure on themselves.
for over the last year, the expectations for Caleb Williams in Chicago have been growing for over a year before he even finished playing in college. And so before we even knew if Chicago would have the first pick, right? Like it was already an expectation. And so that's why I think they will finish fourth. There's a lot of pressure on a guy who caved under pressure in college football. So once he earns my respect, I'll give it to him, but he doesn't have it yet. He's probably my least favorite quarterback out of this class.
Oh, I would agree with that wholeheartedly. I do feel though as though that they went and put enough talent around him
No,
every
yeah, yeah. I'm with
to
you.
where he just has to do what JJ is expected to do, and he's gonna, Chicago. We can't forget that they did have 7 wins last year, and with a semi dysfunctional roster. I mean, Tyson Bagent had to start 4 games out of that 17, so they did end up with 7 whole wins, and that defense is pretty much intact. The secondary, the cornerback room is really good. That's the reason why I think they have a defense that's ready to win. I'm not a big I would have ranked them higher if I thought Caleb Williams was any better. But right now, I would have probably rather had JJ McCarthy out of the first round than Caleb Williams as a safe bet. Caleb Williams did all that weird stuff with not doing physicals and the arrogance and the cockiness. That just tells me that somebody's going to sack him and he's going to get hit really hard in the NFL because people don't like that. We were just talking about Caitlin Clark. Nobody likes her. There's a certain amount of jealousy, and that's because she plays that hard. So they're out there to try to knock her down a notch. It's not jealousy, when it comes to Caleb Williams. It's that he's come out there and talk the talk like he's going to be big stuff. And I think these guys are, especially in the NFC North, they're going to pound him into the dirt. I think he's going to have to be very athletic and be very smart to be very successful in the first round. I just think that Eberflus has done a really good job.
I
I
mean,
think
hats off to Eberflus. Other than trading Fields, I've liked what he's been doing.
Yeah, the Fields thing, that's Ryan Poles. Ryan Poles really wanted this quarterback to secure his legacy. He thinks that Caleb Williams is the next Patrick Mahomes. He was in Kansas City when Mahomes was drafted. He did a lot of the scouting for that deal, and that's what he thinks of Caleb Williams. I don't think the same talent levels there. And I definitely, don't think he's got the right mindset as a rookie. But I could be wrong. Maybe Ryan Poles is a genius, and but Chicago is probably going to charger it up.
No, they're gonna just be Chicago. It's not even charging it up. Charging it up is no expectations. You come in, play really well, and then get everyone's hopes up and ruin it by the end of the game. The Chargers or the Bears have all of the expectations. So you can't charge something up if there's already expectations. And so, I look, part of me really wants Caleb Williams to just be that guy. Like there is a small part of me that just genuinely wants that, but I don't believe in it. And so that's why I'm saying this guy's got to earn my respect. Like and he's got to earn a lot of people's respect because maybe the people in Chicago, maybe the organization, the franchise, the team, the players, they're all behind him and they buy it 100%. But I feel like all 31 other teams don't.
So
Like
I want to hit you with what we talked. I think we talked about this a while back, and remember when we talked about how this draft might go, and we were talking about wouldn't it be a huge benefit to Chicago to not get rid of Justin Fields, and then if you decided you wanted to trade him, let him go, but they decided to clean house and leave Tyson Bagent, which was Ryan Poles' pick, but they did put no real competition in there for Caleb Williams. They are laying – this is where I think the mistake is made. They're laying all their eggs in that basket. Brett Rippon, although he's a great locker room guy and he's really smart and intelligent with like learning the offense and stuff like that, but he's not going to win you games as a starter. So he's there just for his knowledge. Tyson Bagent did okay in his starts, but there's not a lot of real experience in that quarterback room, and I think that's going to make Caleb Williams' development slow a little bit.
No, yeah, 100%. Like, I think, say they didn't draft Caleb Williams, say they kept Justin Fields, and they just went and got Marvin Harrison Jr. and maybe another piece or two or whoever, right? Added to the O-line, kept, I feel like they're playoff ready. In a weak NFC, they're immediately playoff ready. But that's the what if, right? But and then you get to reality. It's look at Justin Fields his rookie year. Did he make great plays? Was he exciting? Yes, but at the end of the day, they won 3 games. And was that all his fault? No, not all of it, but he got the crap absolutely beat out of him all season long. He suffered more than one injury. He was constantly having to get picked up off the ground, and that guy did not go into Chicago running his mouth. He just went out there and took it and played. And he did well. And he had a lot less than Caleb does. But, I just feel like he's got all the pieces to succeed, but something just tells me it's all going to be the opposite of that. Everything is going to be the opposite of what it's supposed to be. Because, they got, what's his name? Rome Odunze. Yeah, Odunze, and then they've got Keenan Allen. They've got a decent running back room. Their offensive line has gotten better the last season. Then you're like you said, their defense has improved. This team was perfect, set up for Justin Fields. It was perfect because he's comfortable. He's got the how about those Chiefs? Go Chiefs. Is that Cole? What's good?
Back at that now, DeAndre Swift moving into that, and then Roshan Johnson being a second-year guy from Texas, and Khalil Herbert, they've got the backfield, and that's cool.
But no, that's what I'm saying. Like, just saying hello. Well, I appreciate you. Thank you for stopping by.
That's very cool. Thank you so much.
I lost my train of thought, but I
royalty
think
in the house, man.
I think royalty is in the house. That's right. Finally, there's some Chiefs people in here. But yeah, no, I just think Chicago made a mistake. Do I want to see them do well? I don't want to see anybody fail. Like, I don't want to see anybody come out and embarrass himself. But he's put his head up on the platter, ready for the league to come after him. And they don't have an easy schedule. They've got the NFC West and the AFC South. The AFC South obviously is a growing division, still younger, but all very competitive. And then you've got the NFC West. You've got the Niners. You've got the Rams, who are coming off a good year. You've got the Cardinals, who I feel may not be the best team in the league, but they've got some life back into them, right? And then you've got the Seahawks, which they might have a bit of a down year. Mahomes is royalty, maybe Kelsey too. Big Red, Chris Jones. Don't forget about the Wolf. That's royalty right there. But absolutely, I appreciate you so much, Cole. But Chiefs Kingdom is royalty, and finally somebody in here that agrees with me.
Yeah, just wait till we get to the how we think everything's going to work out and getting the season ready to go. Chiefs look like they're a cornerback.
We're gonna three-peat. Don't even worry.
They're a cornerback away from being just as good as they were last year.
It's gonna be Lions and Chiefs in the Super Bowl this year. Book it. Book it.
I mean,
book it.
A healthy Burrow, man.
Yeah. Yeah,
Let's
we need Rasheed Rice to quit jacking around, and we're good.
Yeah, I think Kansas
I just
City.
need to stop waking up in Kansas City being on the news every day. Like I need that to like. Can we just get through the rest of the off season, and I don't have to wake up and instantly just be infuriated every single day?
Let's get a good lawyer for these players in Kansas City.
Can we just lock them up and let them only go to practice until the season starts? Like, hey, you all block them all in Mahomes' house together, somebody's house. Just play some Madden together, team bonding. Nobody's driving, no keys.
Yeah, imagine just hearing the news and realizing that your star players are doing dumb stuff. Hopefully
Hopefully,
they.
Rasheed, he's got his head on straight after this one. I was very bummed out about that.
Thank goodness nobody really got hurt.
That's what I'm saying. Just lock them all together. They can't get in trouble if they're all together. You keep them all in one place. They can all be watched, supervised. Give them a couple Xboxes and PlayStation. Let them play Madden, have their practice, go to bed, eat their dinner, all team bonding exercises, and let's just make it to preseason without anybody else getting in trouble, and I'll be happy. I'll be a happy Chiefs fan.
Yeah,
Have a great night. Just wanted to say hi. No, thank you so much again, Cole, for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. I know he does too, even though he's a Bengals fan.
I watch his stuff.
But much love from me to you. Man, it's a great idea. That's what I'm saying. Then they can practice against other guys. It's genius. It's genius. Well, appreciate you again, Cole. We're very grateful to have your presence.
I think on that note we should move to the Broncos.
That's all. It's having a Chiefs fan in here as we go for me to talk down on the Broncos. Yeah, I was at the AFC Championship game. That was you know what? Every matchup between the Chiefs and Bengals have been some of my favorite games, even though we've lost a lot of them.
Listen, there's a lot of Bengals fans that I can't even stand. My brother, I respect some of them, but most of them are just fair weather since Joe Burrow showed up, and they don't know much about football. So I was telling her my first football game, if you're still hanging out in here, was the AFC Championship game in 1981, my friend, and I froze to death.
The Freezer Bowl against the Chargers.
Yep, that was my first football game. But much love and respect, and let's move on, I guess.
All right, last but not least, or maybe least, I put them at least. I was being sincere about meeting lots of nice Bengals fans, super nice in person. Online, oh yeah, meeting them in person is so much different than online. They're a whole nother type of human online.
Yeah, they just
A
don't
real
know.
fan, yeah. He's genuine to the core. I won't give him crap for being a Bengals fan.
Yes,
But
sir.
Denver, the bottom of the barrel, number 6. They weren't number 6 to you, I don't think, but they were for me. Listen, if I knew they were going to start Zach Wilson, I'd feel so much differently about everything.
I still think he might start, just to be honest.
I hope so. I mean, I love that guy. He took it to us last year when we went to New Jersey on primetime football. That was one of the best games of his career. They did come up a little short, but I'm not mad about that.
Just quoting Sean Payton, called them abandoned dogs, is what he called his quarterback room. Guys that nobody really wanted. And I know that was speaking about Stidham and Zach Wilson. And, that ticked a lot of people off. But I think Sean Payton is probably the exact right coach for Zach Wilson. I think there's a possibility that he starts. They said that Bo Nix is really picking up the offense in Denver. But you know what? There's a real distinct possibility that Zach Wilson, who's ultra talented, could win the starting job there. I really want to know what you think about those two in competition, and Stidham having Sean Payton's favor already as knowing the offense and being steady.
What was your question again?
I was your comparison between Bo Nix and Zach Wilson, and then Sean Payton, knowing that Stidham is a very stable quarterback. He's not going to get you the flash, but he's not going to make a lot of mistakes either.
Well, first of all, Bo Nix and Zach Wilson are the same age. So we'll throw that out there because I feel like that's been talked about a lot since they drafted him. But my thing about Zach Wilson is there's a reason Sean Payton went and got him because he did not have to trade for him. He could have waited for him to get cut and then just signed him. But they made it a point to trade with the Jets and get him right away. Um, so obviously Sean Payton sees something there. He probably just watched film against his game against the Chiefs and said, "Oh man, this guy can play against our division." And but no, in all seriousness, I don't think rookie quarterbacks should be day one starters, period. I've always felt that way. I'm thankful every day of my life that Alex Smith was in Kansas City still when Patrick Mahomes got there and he got to sit. I'm grateful for that. And we've seen it with other quarterbacks, but it's not as common anymore. So that's why I feel like Bo Nix will be day one no matter what happens in training camp and preseason. But I think there is a lot of comparable traits about both of these guys. I'm not speaking on Stidham. We've seen Stidham for a couple years now, and he's just a fill-in guy. Like he's not that guy. Um, but I think these two guys can learn a lot from each other. Being they are the same age, one already has NFL experience and he already knows what it's like to get the crap beat out of him, right? Not only by football players, but by the media and how to handle that and, keep your composure. He had to learn the hard way. If you remember, he had his freak out and he got benched over it, and he's matured a lot in the last year and a half. And so I think he can pass that knowledge to Bo while Bo can, they played at two different colleges, two different, styles of play while still being similar. And so I just feel like it's a healthy competition between these two guys.
One of the things that is amazing about Sean Payton is that have you ever heard of a coach that will draft the certain body type for a safety, or he looks for the 5'10", 215 guy that can go up and has a good high jump. Coaches like certain attributes in their players, and you hit on something right there, that all three quarterbacks in this room, including Jarrett Stidham, they have almost the exact same body size and structure. They all look very similar on the field. They throw very similar, and they have similar skill sets. Jarrett Stidham, when he came out of college, he was at Auburn, and he was in a pretty high-flying offense that had really talented guys around him. One of those situations that kind of like an Alabama quarterback, he looked a lot better than he might have been based on the talent he had on his team and coaching. So, but these three guys all look very similar, and I think you're right. Zach Wilson's matured, and Bo Nix is going to probably gravitate to learn from him and maybe not go through some of the growing pains. But if Bo Nix is the day one starter, they're going to have some issues. They have a decent running game. They've got good guys on the outside. It's just a question of putting it all together. And, knowing that Russell Wilson didn't fit into that offense that well, and Russ is capable of doing a lot of things. They
Russ
just
had a decent year last year too.
heck yeah, and the fact that there's your biggest reason why they might finish sixth out of this group is because there's $40 million that is just sitting out there for nothing. That's a lot of your salary cap this year. That's 1/6 of the salary cap. My God, and they ate a lot of dead money, and that's probably their biggest downfall.
For 2 years, they're just fortunate that they've got cheap quarterbacks this year.
Yeah, I mean, Zach Wilson's not going to cost them much next year either, and Jared Stidham is a $3 million backup, and you got Bo Nix on a rookie contract. So
I will say this. we're all expecting Bo Nix to be the day one starter, right? It's just the way the league goes. It's how it is. It's what the fans are gonna want. Those fans were not excited to have signed Zach Wilson. Like, there is a very special select few that would be excited about that. Me being one of them. That like maybe 10 people. But the fans want it, the media probably wants it, and that's just the way it's been for a while now, where you draft a guy in the first round, he's got to be your starter. But I will say this, I will have a lot more respect for Sean Payton if Zach Wilson does well in preseason and OTAs and all of that, all the offseason things. If he does well enough to be their starter for a few weeks while Bo sits back and watches, he will have earned a lot of respect for me. And it's not because it's Zach Wilson, but if one of these guys one of these head coaches can man up against the media and let a young rookie quarterback sit for at least 5 or 6 games, it doesn't even have to be the whole season. Those coaches will have a lot of respect for me. I don't see it happening. I think New England might. New England will let Brissett play. And I got a lot of respect for, what's his name, Gerard.
Gerard Mayo.
Yeah. I got a lot of respect for that. I already know he's going to. Unless Brissett gets hurt, Drake May won't be their day one starter. But everybody else, obviously Caleb Williams is gonna start. Like, he has to. Like, it's just like he has to.
There's nobody else in that quarterback room. They made sure that there was no competition.
Yeah, he has to. Obviously, we're not going to see Michael Penix unless Kirk Cousins gets injured. And then Jaden Daniels, he basically has to. They got Mariota, but I doubt they're going to sit him.
We saw the
right now, Bo Nix is, other than in New England, Bo Nix is the only quarterback that has a chance to sit on day one. And I'll have a lot of respect if he does.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think Sean Payton is above. See, that's the thing. Sean Payton doesn't care what the fans think. He doesn't care what the public thinks. He's trying to develop and build a team. And he did such a good job in New Orleans. I mean, of putting guys in the right chances to win and be successful. That's why I think there's a big possibility that you don't see Bo Nix for half a season. It's just that type of coach, right?
It's just the fact that he traded for Zach Wilson when he could have just waited, right? Like, that is the whole thing that I've been on, that the fans aren't, the Broncos fans aren't getting, is he didn't have to trade for him, but he wanted to make sure that he got him, and that's why they did trade. If they would have waited a few more weeks, he would have signed him for whatever deal he wanted to sign him for.
And then, and back to the reason why we had this tonight is that looking at this quarterback class, this might be the same as that quarterback class, where there's a lot of guys that are just about out of the NFL if they don't get it straight. A lot of first round picks that really, are going to have the ability to struggle.
This is a good comment, honestly. He says, I know to never trust training camp and OTA things like that. For example, Jamar Chase, who really struggled in preseason, but Caleb Williams has struggled all of training camp from what I've heard. I've also heard that. And, Jamar come out and look so much better after all them drop passes in preseason and that people were getting real antsy about it. Yeah, it's not the same. It's a different game, even from preseason to week 1. I just think Caleb Williams has a lot more to prove than getting a little bit of negativity from OTAs. Like, he's the one quarterback that can't mess up without people freaking out about it.
Yeah, I feel like he's the one rookie that has real pressure. And honestly, I go back, and every time I start to believe that he's going to be the right guy, I go back and I watch that game, USC and Notre Dame. And he was out of sorts the whole game. He never really looked quite right. And the NFL is a heck of a lot faster than Notre Dame's defense. And they really did a pretty good number on him. Not that he doesn't have the talent or the ability. The question is he going to check his ego enough to learn and develop?
Yeah, I mean, there is a chance for him to succeed. Like, obviously, I throw a lot of shade, and I'm just embracing being a hater. Like, I'm not even gonna try to hide that anymore. Like, I'm a hater, okay? I'm a Caleb Williams hater until, I'm a doubter until he proves me wrong. And I feel like with certain people, that's okay to be that way. And all I've gotten shoved down my throat for the last year and a half was how godly this kid was gonna be when he gets to the NFL. How is anybody to know that? What if he got hurt tomorrow? Knock on wood. I don't want to see that happen. And he never plays a snap in the NFL. Then I got shoved all that down my throat for a year and a half for nothing. Like, I don't think you can say that about kids who have never played in the league.
Yeah.
Honestly. I will be a Caleb Williams hater my entire life. I don't care if he wins MVP. He's not going to win MVP this year, but Rookie of the Year, is definitely a a topic of conversation. I think Caleb Williams himself is expecting to walk into the NFL and win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Like, I think that's his expectation. And you know what? Good for him, because he's got that I want to win mentality, right? Like, he has that, and I respect that. But make sure he can bring the rest of the stuff that comes with saying things like that with him. As long as he can bring all that up and back it up with his play and not just his mouth, the world will be fine. Everybody will be fine. I'll be fine. I'll tone it down, and I'll ease off of him a bit. But I can't until he does.
Well, the one other factor that's really working in his favor, um, first years in the league for quarterbacks, pairing with your offensive coordinator is a big deal.
Right.
Shane Waldron coming over to run that run that offense is probably going to be a benefit to him. I don't necessarily, I think that's going to be a good place for him to start. He may not have as many struggles, but there's times that some of these guys get, the wrong coach that has a certain expectation or a style of play. And I feel like that's a good fit for him going forward. So, hopefully that works out for him. And I don't want to see Chicago fail.
No, no.
I was just upset that they gutted a team that was a playoff ready team this season. If they would have used the first pick for another for say Marvin Harrison Jr.
Or
and
Joe Alt.
or well, their biggest need right now is an edge rusher. Across from the guy they got from Baltimore. Can't think of his name.
Yes.
Sweat, Montez Sweat. I'm sorry, Sweat. But they
Yes.
need one more. They need one more guy on the defensive line. They were going to be ultra competitive for at least a wild card spot, as is, and yet they took this chance. But because of Carolina's demise, and I just don't know that was the right thing to do. We'll see if they fall flat on their face this year. There may not be an Eberflus in Chicago. There may not be a Ryan Poles anymore because Chicago is almost as bad as Carolina with upending regimes.
I think they do get a slight leeway because it is a new quarterback. But it's really difficult when they did win 7 games last year. They're not going to win 7 games, in my opinion, this year. Could they? Probably. Anybody can do anything. That's what I love about this league, is anybody can surprise you. Because deep down, like, let's be real. Like I said this at the beginning, they've got one of the better rosters out of these 6 teams we're talking about as a whole, full circle roster. They're probably at least in the top half, the top 3 of the teams that we've been talking about today.
Fair.
But
that's where I'm at.
They've not played together. None of them played together. That's the only problem. Will there be chemistry? Will there be ego issues with veteran Keenan Allen and this bright young rookie wide receiver? Are they going to butt heads? Are they not going to get along? Is somebody going to get mad and then they've got DJ Moore. I didn't even mention him earlier.
Yeah, he's talented.
They've got endless opportunity. like I almost have expectations for them. Like at this point, like I've almost talked myself into expecting more from them, but I'm not going to be like their fans and then have all these expectations just to be disappointed. Like I want them to prove it to me that they can all play together, they can all work together, they can all have a good year together. I have to watch all 17 games before I decide if I will respect them or not. Like it's
Yeah,
not going to be, oh, they start the season 3-0. You know what? I saw the Giants a couple of years ago start the season 3-0 and didn't win another game until week 13. So, like they have to play a full season. Like this time next year, I'll tell you if I respect that team. Like that's how long it's going to take.
yeah, I'm real excited. Is just because the teams that we talked about. Denver has financial woes. Washington doesn't look to be as deep, but some of these rosters are pretty solid, especially the defensive side of the ball.
New England.
Minnesota is pretty deep on their roster. New England has got a lot of depth on the defensive side. So there's a lot of these teams that are going to play pretty good defense. But the question is that are these quarterbacks, if they get in, are they going to be able to manage a game? Are they going to be able to control the guys on the team? They say that Caleb Williams has been a very vocal leader at camp thus far. But like Adam said, he's the rumors of him struggling have got whispers going around that that he might not be that ready yet.
All right, I'm going to give you my bold. I want you to come up with one while I'm talking. One bold prediction, and it can be about any of the 6 teams. This is going to be my first unhinged crazy thing I say for this football season. It's going to start right here. It's going to be followed by a lot of crazy things over the course of the year. You guys always tell me I'm delusional. You tell me I'm delusional, and I'm good with that. I'm good with that, but here is my first delusional statement that I almost kind of believe. And I can't wait to hear whatever it is you come up with off the top of your head. But I think my out of my 6, I'm picking the Patriots. And my super bold prediction is a 7 seed wild card spot. The Patriots find a way to sneak in this
Whoa.
brutal AFC.
Man, I couldn't. I mean, like I said, I don't know that I could disagree any more.
I'm telling you, nobody's paying attention to these guys anymore. No one cares. Tom's gone, Bill's gone. No one cares about that organization. Their defense is legit. They set a record last year for the most number of games that they lost in a row, but allowing less than 10 points.
Yeah, but
You're giving up less than 10 points.
They've got to prove that they can score points, though, Alex.
They got a different offense going on this year. They drafted like 3 wide receivers. One of those guys is going to work out.
Wow. Well,
now I told you, I prepped you. I built it up before I said it because I told you it was going to be crazy. That's my number one craziest bold prediction out of the 6 teams that drafted a rookie quarterback in the first round. Now, I want to hear what your one. You can pick any of them. You can pick the Patriots and go the opposite direction. But I want to hear something bold from you. Put you on the spot.
Bold?
I mean, mine was pretty freaking bold. I saw your face.
I can't match your bold because saying that they're going to make the playoffs is
7 seed. 9-8.
7 seed in the
9-8 in the AFC.
Oh my gosh.
I'm telling you right now. It's even more bold that I chose one of the AFC teams in general.
Oh my gosh.
In the division they play in. Alex is back.
I will just I don't know what the guy. I'm still stunned with that because I can't.
Do I want them to? No, absolutely not. I hate them, but I'm going bold. I don't want them there.
I can't. Nothing that I pick is bold because it's definitely predictable. But I'm just gonna stick with
I
my
just want
gun
you to say something I haven't heard already,
that you haven't heard already.
which I really haven't heard that much because I've kind of been out of the loop. But I wanted just to say something that maybe I don't believe you. No, yes, that is bold. That is bold to say that, but I think it's entirely possible. So maybe it's not that bold, but we're basing it off of he's picking from the 6 teams that drafted a quarterback in the first round. So I'm telling him to make a bold statement about either Chicago, Washington, New England, Atlanta, Minnesota, or Denver.
I'll tell you, it may not be bold, but I think all the expectation is on Chicago. I will take Minnesota to be the 7th seed in the NFC and sneak into a wild card spot with JJ McCarthy at the helm.
Man, you're right. That really wasn't bold. I just stuck the Patriots in an AFC playoff spot. The NFC, I'm pretty sure all you have to do is show up to all 17 games and you make the playoffs.
But there's nothing bold that I can come out of this that I think is actually a fact.
Okay,
I think
let me think about it. Let me think about it. All right, I got a bold NFC one. Kirk Cousins does not perform and comes in 4th in the NFC South. I don't believe that. I just made that up. I don't believe that at all.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you know what? Pizzle's got Washington going from worst to first. I think
I'm with him. That would probably be my second truest bold statement. I actually believe that one more than the Patriots one I said, but I really wanted to kick this year off with high level delusion because I'm embracing that.
I mean,
But this, if I had nothing to do with the AFC in my statement, this is probably where my brain would have went first. Dude, I ride with the Comanches, man. I ride with them hard. I've always had a little soft spot for them for no reason. Probably because I hate all the other teams in that division a lot. That's a good one. This is a good one. This is a top tier one right here. Jaden Daniels, he's gonna do it to him because and look, Pizzle naming that, and then with my first statement, the 2 teams I started off with talking about them is no one's going to be paying attention to Washington or New England. They're going to fly under the radar. And that's exactly why I believe what I said. We're not talking about the Chiefs today. The only team we're talking about in that division is the worst one. So, we're talking about Denver. And my boy, Zach.
yeah, I have no ability to go bold out of this deal.
I mean, you could talk about Zach Wilson. That's pretty bold of anybody other than me.
Is it a bold prediction that he starts all 17 games this year? Yeah.
My heart would be happy.
Man.
It would just hurt when he started winning and people were like, wow, this guy's kind of good. And I'd be like, yeah, I've been riding with him since he got his first concussion in the NFL.
I just don't. I mean, you know, the teams that I think are going to do well are Atlanta and Minnesota for sure. Chicago just behind them.
Okay, then say something bold about one of the other 3 teams.
Okay, well, then let me follow Pizzle. The one guy that I think is the wild card as far as these quarterbacks go is that Jaden Daniels could be Offensive Rookie of the Year.
I think that's a great bold statement. Is saying Jaden Daniels winning Offensive Rookie of the Year. I like Pizzles more because I actually want to see that happen. But if this happens, then Jaden Daniels probably will be winning Offensive Rookie of the Year without a doubt because it's going to be on him for this to happen. Yeah, 2 things: him to perform and him to stay healthy.
Yeah,
you put Marcus Mariota out there and it's over.
I'm just afraid for Jaden Daniels' life. I don't want him to end up like RG3.
I'm afraid for any quarterback that ever steps on FedEx Field.
It's like a double whammy, isn't it?
I mean, freaking Penix starting by week 6. Woo! What happened to Kirk? Did he break a leg or like? I mean, he's
That's
coming
that's
back from an
basically if
Achilles.
Cousins gets hurt.
I mean, he's coming back from an Achilles, man. You know how they say you're stronger once you come back from something like that, but I feel like it's quite the opposite once you get a little up there in age. That's why I'm nervous about Rodgers. But Cousins is coming back faster than Rodgers. If he's playing week 1, Rodgers got hurt in week 1. Kirk Cousins played half the season.
Man,
I mean, I hope that doesn't happen. Like, I want to watch Michael Penix, but I don't want to see someone get hurt.
I mean,
If Cousins gets benched, that's different.
what I do like Michael Penix. I got to watch him at Indiana, and then watch him develop, and then go to Washington. He has got a great arm. He can throw the deep ball really well.
I do remember that. Do you have any fantasy football bold predictions? Well, you know what? I'm gonna piggyback on him. Jaden Daniels is gonna be the fantasy football GOAT, just like Justin Fields his rookie year. They may not win all the games, but that doesn't mean he can't put up crazy numbers, because that's exact. Justin Fields won 3 games and was one of the fantasy football leaders. So, which I drafted Jaden Daniels in our dynasty league. So I hope that's true.
That would be nice for you.
Oh man, if I hit on that, I'm gonna be insufferable, because I hit real hard on Gibbs and Laporta last year. They were 2 of my best players by the end of the season. And so if I can hit on Daniels too, which I got Jared Goff, so it doesn't really matter, but I'll be pretty jacked up. Fantasy football, I'm going to say that Ricky Pearsall, is that how you say it? That San Francisco drafted, he's going to be the number 1 fantasy receiver in San Francisco by the end of the year.
That's bold.
That's a bold statement.
I need a sleeper wide receiver for my best.
I also drafted the Polk from New England, which we were just talking about this. Okay, they drafted like 3 or 4 receivers, but that's the guy I'm high up on. I also got Marvin Harrison, so I can't really say much.
Fundamental, I'm just going to be a homer, and I'm going to say I've been watching
You're going to go with that Bengals guy, yep.
Jermaine Burton is catching dimes, and he's building a relationship with
How about that tight end that they drafted?
Eric All? Yeah.
Eric All, yeah.
He was out with a ACL last year, and he's kind of he might not be ready to be perfect at the beginning of the season.
Kansas City drafted baby Travis Kelce at tight end as well, so that's a good eye at least. Obviously you can go Bowers if you want. They do have Michael Mayer, so I don't know what that their offense is going to look like just yet.
They're going to run a lot of 12 personnel, 2 tight ends.
They're going to run a lot of running the football.
You're going to see a lot of Mayer and Bowers out there. Bowers can move out into the slot. He is very versatile.
Where did Josh Jacobs end up? Green Bay. I forgot about that. That's crazy. They got Minshew. They'll be fine. That's what I'm saying. Except for, I don't want them to be fine, but I want to see Minshew do well. It's just like Denver and Vegas drafted 2 of my favorite backup / starter in my opinion. They're both worthy of being a starter to me, but they've been considered backup quarterbacks in Zach Wilson and Gardner Minshew. And I was like, why did they end up in those 2 teams? Because I'm going to cheer for them, but I don't want those teams to win.
I just get the feeling that Aiden O'Connell is going to start in Las Vegas.
Nah, I think letting him sit after he's gotten some experience, and then let Gardner play, and then now he gets to sit behind Gardner. Who did he sit out behind before? Jimmy G. What did he learn from that guy? How to look pretty? Like, he didn't learn nothing but how to turn the ball over from him and get a bunch of money to do it. So, no, I think Minshew will be the starter, and I think that's the right move. Especially if they think O'Connell is their guy. If they really believe that. Even if it's like we've been saying the magic number, 6 games. unless Minshew starts 6-0. Yeah, but Minshew is a baller. Like, he's veteran, he's mature, he's not the worst quarterback that you can pick up. There's a lot of good reasons.
But for what Fundamental just said there, that's the reason why I think he's the backup. He
I
takes
think he will end up being the backup. O'Connell's not winning them a Super Bowl either right now.
but I just think that's the reason. I think that's the reason why they picked him up as an insurance policy.
And that's completely fair. That's what happened to him in Indy. But he ended up being all right for them in Indy, you know. I can't believe Indy let him go.
Honestly,
They
yeah.
got Flacco, but I get it. Flacco had the best year of his entire career in Cleveland. I get that, okay? You know, but Minshew was already proven, you know, like to understand the offense, and he could only grow in Indianapolis. I don't see him regressing. He can only grow.
Yeah. Yeah, as the worst of Gardner Minshew, I saw a lot of bad too. Shane Steichen did a really good job with the Colts last year, and I think they're gonna be fine this year. And maybe that's the reason why they let him go. I, I think they've got a great opportunity as well.
I mean, shout out to Joe Flacco for getting another contract somewhere. Like, honestly,
I
who
the best
thought we'd
part
be
about
saying
Joe
that?
Flacco, the best part about Joe Flacco was watching him in between series, sitting on the bench, falling asleep. I mean, how good is that?
I don't know. I feel out of these 6 teams that we come here to discuss today, like, I'm actually excited. Like, since this is how we kick off our football season on It's in the Blood, talking about these guys, like, these are the 6 teams that for no other reason I'm going to feel more obligated to watch now. Not because obviously all eyes in Chicago, you know, like that's already happening, but nobody's saying, "Oh, yeah, let's watch Broncos football cuz Bo Nix is there." Nobody's saying that.
You know,
And, you know, like maybe the Chicago and Minnesota, but like nobody cares about Atlanta, nobody cares about Washington, nobody cares about New England, but now I do.
let's be honest. All 6 of these quarterbacks could be
All
big
right,
flops.
let's take let's just make a friendly bet. Okay? We'll take Atlanta out of the equation cuz we both mutually agreed they were number 1. So pick number 2 who actually is you think's going to end up with the best record out of the other 5. And I'll pick mine. And we'll just see who's right by the end of the year.
Okay. Minnesota.
I should have known you were going to say that. Washington. Dude, I ride with them every year, so that one was easy for me. I wish we could mutually agree that Denver was going to be number 6, though. Like, I wish we could be mutuals on that.
I think his roster's still too good to be that far down.
Yeah, I thought that last year.
They still what did they win last year? 8 games?
It don't matter. The Chargers took a slump because of Brandon Staley. If that didn't happen, if they didn't have Brandon Staley, their record would have been better than the Broncos. It didn't matter how many games either of them won.
I mean, but it didn't happen, so.
Yeah, but I know it would have. They basically did what Chicago did, okay? They got rid of Russell Wilson right when he started playing good. They got rid of Justin Fields right when he was starting to figure it out there. They did the same thing, both teams. So I put them at the bottom. They're starting over. Interested to see which wide receiver has a big year for the Broncos. Someone has to catch the ball.
Mims.
Yeah, I was gonna say Mims for sure.
Marvin Mims.
That was the direction I was going. Mims. They drafted someone too. Like kind of higher up, maybe second round.
I don't remember. I don't think so.
I do like Marvin Mims a lot though. It makes me mad when teams play, like, guys I like play for other teams. Troy Franklin, yeah, that's I think he's telling us, so we can stop thinking.
I think Cortland Sutton is going to be
Bo's
interesting.
teammate at Oregon, that's why now it's coming back to me now in the 4th round, yes. They drafted someone he played with. No, I still think it'll be Marvin Mims, dude. He's coming up. It's his time to shine. This is his year for that team of wide receivers.
The other wide receiver on that team I like is Tim Patrick.
Is he going to be healthy though? Like that's the big issue. That was a big issue last year. All their receivers got hurt.
And then they got Josh Reynolds too.
Oh, from the Lions?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Josh Reynolds, that was from the Lions, right?
I think
so.
so.
I'm mixing him up with Craig Reynolds. Where
Yeah,
he play? Didn't he play for the Lions too?
I'm pretty sure Josh came from the Lions.
I'm glad we had this conversation because I couldn't for the life of me remember any of who the Broncos wide receivers were. Where did Jerry Jeudy end up?
Oh, I don't know.
Cleveland? Does that sound right? I want to say Cleveland. And then Cortland Sutton, 1383 and 14 touchdown. Browns, yes. What about Cortland Sutton? So Jerry Jeudy went to the Browns.
Sutton's still in the Broncos.
I couldn't remember if they dealt him or not. I mean, Sutton could be that guy. Honestly, he could be that guy. I'm leaning more towards Mims personally. Franklin is going to be a rookie alongside of Bo. So although the chemistry is great, I don't know if that will be their year one, them being elite, but I could see them becoming an elite duo in the NFL. These other guys are a little bit more established, and people are going to try to take Franklin away from him if he's at the helm because that's going to be his safety net. Do they still got that one tight end? I cannot remember his name. It's long. I don't really know anything about the Broncos, man, other than that Franklin and Bo.
The tight end?
Yeah, who's their tight ends on their depth chart right now?
Let me go. Dulcich?
Oh, I forgot about him. Yeah, Greg Dulcich. I was thinking about the guy who went to Seattle, Albert Okay.
And then they got Troutman is the other one, I think.
Oh yeah, you liked him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's such a weird team, man. Denver's gonna be weird. I that's why I'm really comfortable putting them at 6 on this list. It seems like a lot of dysfunctional. At least to start, man. They might put it together by the second half of the year, but it seems like a lot of dysfunctional.
The best reason that you have them at 6 is because they're in the AFC West. I mean, that's going to be a tough road.
No, the AFC West has literally been one of the worst divisions in the league for the last 5 years. We're a bottom division. Oh, Poncho. What's up, Poncho? New series? Yes, this is Blood, Sweat, and Sports. And we're talking about today the 6 quarterbacks that got drafted in their teams. But the AFC West is a bottom 2 division in the NFL outside of the Chiefs. That's not a good argument for me. And I'm not disrespecting anybody, but it's been like last year. I think it was the AFC West and the NFC South were the 2 worst divisions in overall record.
Makes it a little easier for the Chiefs, honestly.
Well, yeah, I know, and that's why I wish our division got better so that we would stop being told it's because we run through our division, which is true, we do, but they don't watch those games. A lot of them are actually competitive. It's not like we just blow them out 40-0 every game. And we have lost games within the division in the last couple years. Denver beat us for the first time in 16 matches last year. But the Raiders have beaten us once in the last couple years, and the Chargers always take us to the wire every single game. Allen, Williams, Eckler, yeah, they pretty much lost their entire offense other than Herbert, but they got Harbaugh.
but they kept their defense intact.
They
They kept
got
their quarterback,
Dobbins.
and they got, and now they got rid of their biggest financial obligations to get under the salary cap. So it's just they cleaned out a lot really fast. So you
If
look for,
JK stays healthy,
has he ever stayed healthy?
no. I like that guy. I really do. He's very talented.
Oh, I love watching him. He was great at Ohio State, but my God, it seems like
I
game
think
one
that
every year.
I put that on Baltimore. Their
Gus Edwards.
nutritional coach or whatever. Like whoever's supposed to be taking care of these players' bodies, like in Baltimore, does not do a good job. But luckily for him, he went from a team that can't take care of their players to another team that's always injured. So he's got a lot of chance to stay healthy this year.
I can't wait to we figure out what we're gonna do next week because I'm getting excited about doing this.
I did know they drafted a running back too. I just can't remember his name either. But yeah, we'll talk about that real quick. So, like I said at the beginning, this will be on Tuesdays. The time might be a little different. We have not worked out all the kinks yet for Blood, Sweat, and Sports, but the one thing we're certain of is it will always be on Tuesdays. And if you miss us live, it will be on Apple Music. Or not Apple Music, YouTube
Music.
YouTube Music under the podcast as well if you want to listen. Our in-game plan is for us to do this every single Tuesday. We've got a lot going on right now to where that's not going to be doable immediately, but it will, like I said, always be Tuesday. Maybe bi-weekly or at the bare minimum, it will be at least once a month until football starts. Once football starts, it'll be every Tuesday. We'll be here almost every day of the week. But outside of football season, we're hoping that we'll have at least Blood, Sweat, and Sports on Tuesdays to go through the rest of the year. We can talk about other sports, not just the NFL, but we wanted to get us ready and get our minds right for the NFL, which is why we decided to talk about the bottom a little bit and, start at the bottom and work our way through. Their social media, try to hyping up Bud Dupree for their defense. Oh, man. Man, yeah, the AFC West is interesting, to say the least. The Chiefs can't stay out of trouble. The Chargers got a new head coach and got rid of all their key players except for Justin Herbert. And then, the Raiders and the Broncos, new quarterback with a young second quarterback. Either way, a lot of new pieces. Raiders lost Josh Jacobs. There's a lot of everything in every team but the Chiefs looks different.
I'm going to be low-key kind of rooting for the Raiders this year because I love Marvin Lewis, and he's sitting there helping Antonio Pierce. I really like that deal.
I like Gardner Minshew.
It's going to be I've never rooted for the Raiders ever, but with Marvin Lewis being there, I think I can.
I like Gardner Minshew. I like Zach Wilson, and I like Justin Herbert. So if all the right quarterbacks can start by week 1, I won't have a problem with my division. I got nothing against Bo Nix, and Aiden O'Connell looks like Zach Taylor's son, with a slightly more baby face, and I kind of want to punch him. Not as bad as Josh McDaniels, his punchable face, but I kind of want to punch it. Like Aiden O'Connell. Aiden O'Connell looks like Derek Carr and Zach Taylor made a baby.
I've got to look. Did Josh McDaniels resurface?
No. He heard what I said about him on the internet, and so he stayed buried.
You're right. Has not yet.
I told you, he heard all the things I said about him last year. Yeah, look at a picture of Aiden O'Connell and think about Derek Carr and Zach Taylor. Love child. Oh, thank you, Leo. Appreciate you. If you haven't already, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Also, if you want to join the It's in the Blood Discord, where we promote our everything. We have a tab for any creators to promote their stuff. We talk about music, food, sports, all kinds of sports. We got all of them. We promote his and I's both have our own gaming channel. We've got a bunch of stuff going on in there, and we're trying to revive our Discord a little bit. So I will be in there more often, trying to hang out, answer replies, and when people are on, I will try to be on too. But yeah, the link Leo just posted right here. Join the Blood Fam. We appreciate you guys for sure. For sure. We did since the last time we streamed together. We've hit 2,400 subscribers, which means we're pushing 2,500. Maybe Papa Blood and I will get together to plan something for that.
Heck yeah.
That means halfway to 5K. And so it's a big deal. And we appreciate the support. So maybe him and I, behind the scenes, will plan something out for 2,500.
I'm down for that.
I am down for that.
Heck yeah. Especially with the group that we got, the consistent group.
Well, it doesn't matter. It's whoever shows up. That's who we like, whether they're consistent or not. Uno Stream versus Poncho and Maniac win. He doesn't have a PlayStation. Everybody bully Papa Blood into getting a PS5. Bully the crap out of him. You said you wanted a console.
Yeah, but I don't want a PlayStation.
What's wrong with PlayStation?
I'm not a PlayStation person. Nothing's wrong with it. It's just like I'm not an iPhone person because I'm not.
iPhone and Android argument is way different than Xbox and PlayStation because you can like both Xbox and PlayStation, but you can't like Apple and Android.
I'm an Xbox person.
I'm an Xbox person too, but where's my Xbox? That's right, I got a PlayStation.
That Xbox controller is just superior.
Dude, the controller is the only thing that's just way better.
I remember the console wars on South Park. You can make arguments.
You remember wars on a fictional TV show?
Yes.
A cartoon.
It made some very good points to each side.
Where's your Spider-Man game on Xbox? Dude, yeah, Xbox controllers are far superior. They look so much better. I do like what they did with the 5, but the colors suck. They do suck. When you're looking at Xbox ones, the PlayStation ones suck. But I like my purple one. I like the classic white. I got a white one somewhere over here. Like, this honestly kind of reminds me of, like, the OG 360 controller. Like, I'm not gonna lie. But it's still clean. It's not that bad.
How did you force Leo to buy a PlayStation against his will?
Listen, you have to understand all boys are dramatic and will say, I forced them. But he's in California. I didn't make him do nothing. I'm in Kentucky. You get more games on PlayStation. That's why Xbox is losing the war. Yeah, but Xbox was just like, hey, watch this, and then bought all of Call of Duty, all the rights to them. They're like, we win. I thought that was pretty funny. No. You can have both. But certain games, you got to be on the same console, and everybody else has got a PlayStation.
Well, when we get off here, I got a conversation to have with you then.
Okay.
We'll save it for then.
Alex forced me to play golf with friends with her. Yes, I forced his hand.
She forced me to play golf too, Poncho.
Not golf with your friends.
Isn't that what we did?
We played 2K.
Oh.
Which you've yet to get back on there, and that game is fun. But me and Poncho and Maniac played golf with your friends. That's what the game's called.
Oh, so that's the name of a game. I was not aware.
I hate golf, bro. But it's not. It was fun. You did better than Maniac did. Maniac was lost in the sauce.
I was playing the hard way too.
Yeah, well, there's no hard way on golf with your friends. It's just hard. It's all hard. Nothing makes sense on that game. The rules of golf don't apply to golf with your friends. It's like playing skee ball with a golf club. Like, I don't know. It doesn't make sense. But anyway, check out the Discord so you can see when we're playing games. Is the new college football game going to be PS and Xbox? I think so. Because Poncho in the chat right now is the best person to ask because he's pre-ordering. So, I am not. because I'm protesting EA. They've gotten the axe from me since they put Josh Allen on the cover of Madden. What has Josh Allen done to earn the cover of Madden? And I like the guy.
Blasphemy, fundamental. That is blasphemy. I will never take the Wildcats anywhere.
No, but you can make IU really good.
College football, yeah. Hey, we got a top 25 recruiting class for 25. Heck yeah.
Are you going to cover any college football this year?
Heck yeah.
I'm not. I'm just asking you.
I love the new coach. I love the direction that they're going. So while everything is fresh and good, for sure.
The cover's a fan vote. It used to be whoever won MVP got the cover. And then Aaron Rodgers started doing ayahuasca and won MVP a couple years in a row, and they didn't want to put him on the cover, and that's when it started being other people. He got robbed of 2 or 3 Madden covers because he's crazy.
Hey, really a quick question because something really sparked it inside of me. If Josh Allen and the Bills, who have a very depleted roster, fail to make the playoffs this year, will the fans turn on Josh Allen and start to blame him?
Josh Allen will be a Giant next year.
Josh Allen.
He'll be back with Daboll. They're not going to fire Daboll because Daboll's going to be like, listen, if we suck, don't fire me. I'll bring in Josh Allen next year. That's what's going to happen. That's my crazy prediction. Is the Bills are going to suck, and then Josh Allen is going to go to the Giants with Daboll. Wow. I said that last year, but they didn't suck that bad this year. Who's he going to throw to?
Malik Neighbors.
Yeah, and it'll make Malik Neighbors want to stay. He already hates his life, man. He hates his life from the moment he got there. But Daboll will be like, hey, stick through 1 year. I'm bringing in Josh Allen.
Listen,
he's gonna pitch it to everybody.
Danny Dimes is gonna be unemployed next year. Don't worry about it. It'll be Josh Allen.
Oh, he's got Shakir and Keon Coleman.
There you go. Keon Coleman is a low-key receiver that could have a really big season this year.
What's the Kincaid? Dalton Kincaid. He's got him and the other one.
2 tight ends. Yeah.
They got 2 good tight ends, Dawson Knox.
They're the same guy. They look
also, they got James Cook. They can check it down to him. They drafted a running back too, also. They'll be all right. They'll be all right. They just can't turn the ball over.
Their defense is down, man. I'm telling you.
Oh, they gutted that whole thing except for Von Miller. Everybody but Von was gone.
Everybody but Von.
James Cook gonna get 300 touches. Dude, he's gonna get like 50 touches a game. It's gonna be like they're gonna start just practicing laterals between Josh and James Cook. And that's just going to be their whole game plan. One of them's going to run with it, and if it doesn't work, just lateral it to the other person. It's going to be an interesting year. That's why I think New England could be sneaky. Not good, but sneaky. Because Buffalo's going to be down. You know, we don't know if Tyreek Hill's going to throw a fit over his contract now that Waddle got one. And we also just don't know what Miami's going to look like every year. It's something new. And then you've got the Patriots, who we don't know. We don't know it till it happens. It's a whole new era. And everything from their last era is gone now. So it's a brand new football team. We don't know what they're going to look like. We can speculate all day long, and I'm good at that. I'll sit and talk about it all day. But at the end of the day, they could be the best team we've ever seen or the worst football team of all time. We have no idea. It's a whole new football team. Singletary will eat IDK if he can produce it. Yeah, no, I'm with you. Gerard is super new. We don't know how the vibes are anymore. Yeah, they could actually smile on the sideline. We don't know what's going to happen.
Last year, nobody should have touched the ball other than Saquon.
Who was his backup? He did all right last year.
I'm just saying that Saquon should have got 50 touches a game.
I got
for
a
the
bold
Giants.
prediction for you. Saquon has a very down year in Philadelphia.
I don't think so.
I do. That offensive line's going to be slightly dysfunctional for a few games till they figure it out. And then, like, there's a lot going on in Philadelphia. Let's be real.
I mean, they improved at the coordinator position this year. Couldn't have got any worse.
We talked about Washington going, worst to first, but we can see Philly going first to worst. I don't even remember if they finished first or second, but it doesn't matter. They were basically tied. No matter. They could easily fall to fourth. All they have to have is one bad thing said in their locker room, and they implode for 17 games.
You know what? Jalen Hurts could go backwards because he has
Listen, Jalen Hurts is a product of Alabama football. He's no different than he's way more athletic than Mac Jones. Like, he's a good quarterback, but like he went from being on a stacked Alabama team to being on a absolutely stacked offensively Philadelphia team. And everyone's like, he's a top 5 quarterback. I'm like, no, his pass catchers are top 5 at their position. Like, all I'm saying is it's a perfect system. It's like Tom Brady going to Tampa and winning a Super Bowl, and people were surprised. They were like, "Oh my god, I can't believe the GOAT did it again." And I'm like, that was a perfect football team. Anybody could have won a Super Bowl with that roster, with that defense.
Bro, Alabama's probably going to be down this year.
Oh, man. Things are all finally evening out for once. Patriots were irrelevant. Alabama's going to have a down year.
And we're going to have 12 teams in the college football playoff.
Life's good. I actually can't wait for that. I don't watch college football, but I can't wait to see that play out. Green Bay probably going to be really good. Their wide receivers are phenomenal. Plus that running back they drafted, who's going to sit behind AJ Jacked Quad Dillon.
And Josh Jacobs.
God, I keep forgetting he's there. That running back room's absolutely stacked in Green Bay. Their receivers are really good. As long as Christian Watson can stay healthy, they've got 3 to 4 really elite guys.
Did you hear that they figured out why he kept pulling hamstrings?
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't read into it, but I saw the article about it.
Yeah, basically that his one hamstring was stronger than the other, and he was overcompensating.
That's crazy.
I mean, it was a significant amount when they tested him.
That's so crazy. I'm not even that's actually crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope they get that corrected, because like he's very talented. It just was disappointing. Yeah, Reed, Wicks, and Dobbs. Dude, Jaden Reed's my boy. I love that guy, man. And Dontavian Wicks was undrafted.
Look at that. Green Bay's wide receiver room is all young. I mean, they could be really good.
The running back room's pretty young, too. Josh Jacobs probably the oldest one there. And he just got off the rookie contract. Jaden Reed's my boy. He was a sleeper in the draft last year for me. And I bumped up and took him in the second round of our Dynasty League. And Pete was like, well, I can't believe you took that guy. Because he wanted to trade me. He wanted me to trade down. And I was like, no, I want to make sure I get this guy. And he was like, who do you want? I'm like, I'm not telling you. I'm going to make sure I get this guy. And he was like, I would have never took him. He probably wasn't going till round 4. And I said, you'll see. You'll see. I struck gold on at least 3 of my 7 picks last year.
How'd you finish last year?
I finished in last place, but I finished with one of the best teams in the league, how my season ended.
I was just messing with you.
So I got the first overall pick, and I'm ready for next year. I'll never have that last place finish again, ever. I've been working on this for 4 years, and it's finally coming to fruition that I've got a good football team. You'll see.
I'm ready.
No, but today was good. We're going to probably wrap it up because we're at the hour 45 mark, and we're gonna try to keep Blood, Sweat, and Sports between an hour to 2 hours on average. Depending on the topic, we might have more to talk about and later. Wait, why'd you say K? But anyway, we're gonna have more to talk about once we get to football season. Tuesdays or Blood, Sweat, and Sports probably gonna be a lot of recap, but we're gonna try to touch other sports as well as we get this together. Like I said, he's going on vacation, and then I've got a trip coming up, and so life is kind of hectic right now for us. So we're gonna try to eventually get to every Tuesday, but for now on, we'll try to communicate that with you when something is coming. Like if this week, this Tuesday, we're gonna go, and you know, but that today Tuesdays are when to look forward to us being on here to talk about whatever. What
Fundamental, I'm going to St. Croix.
he's going to an island. I'm going to Connecticut. His is cooler.
Go.
But I'm road tripping. He's flying. I'm road tripping.
Go smack Danny Hurley in the head.
I'm road tripping.
You know, there is the possibility that while one of us is gone, we may go solo too. We never can tell.
And we can't do Blood, Sweat, and Sports solo.
We could.
No. That doesn't make sense.
Okay.
That one doesn't make sense. This is the one for sure thing that we're going to be doing together. You've got your Indiana stuff, and if you touch college football stuff, you got that. That's all on you.
I got a bunch.
You got plenty of solo stuff. But this is where we'll wrap it up today. Like I said, be sure to make sure to like and subscribe. And all that good jazz. Join our Discord. Link should be in the description. Actually, I have no idea if it is. He set this stream up, so it should be. If it's not, go click on old live stream. It's in the description of one of those. He forgets to add links a lot, so I will start putting the Discord in the description as well. You want to check out any of our other channels? It's probably not in this video either, but it's on old ones that you could tell that I put together versus him. There's probably links in there.
I threw this together today. I didn't get super well prepped.
That's fine. But like I said, you can find everything there. On an old one. I think on our homepage, I've got some of that info on there as well. Not all of it, but some. So make sure you check all that good stuff out. Papa Blood, I'm handing it over. Here is, thank you, Leo. Leo's posting the links for us. Here is, my gaming channel. And he's probably gonna post Papa Blood's. And he posted the Discord one as well. There we go. There's Papa Blood's right there. Make sure to check out those if you're into it. We hang out on there sometimes. I'm trying to get a more consistent schedule over there as well. But I'm gonna give you the mic and let you shut us down.
First episode is in the books. Hopefully there's a lot more to come that's going to be excellent out there for you guys. But Leo, Fundamental, Papa Pancho, we definitely love you guys, and thank you for coming in and hanging out, and we will see you on the next one.
Denver sucks.